Let's talk about reading textbooks for a moment. It turns out that reading textbooks is in fact a skill. So it's more than it's different from reading a novel or a poem or, the phone book. Because it's dense with information, right? There's lots of things that are stuffed in there, and there's not a comma that's out of place. All of this, every word, every comma is here on purpose. So the way you extract information, some people naturally do this well. Other people need tools, and there is this guy, Mr. I think it's Robinson. He came up with this system called the SQ3R textbook study system. Um, there is more about the study method here. Francis Robinson invented it, but I like sharing this particular document here because it's kind of concise, gives you what you need very quickly. So the textbook reading system is called SQ3R. SQ3R stands for survey, question, read, recite, and review. And note that while this is a reading system, it's the third step where you're actually reading. Step 1 and 2, you don't. What you're doing in step 1 and 2 is you're putting your brain in the place where it needs to be to really receive the information. Your brain works by association. You're creating neural pathways from, whenever you remember something, and you all know that this happens. You smell something and then you remember, Christmas or grandma or whatever. So the same thing is true for pretty much most things that you remember. Triggers are a real thing. Um, and so what you want to do is you want to try to make sure that the information you are now reading is going to be triggered to come back when you need it. And so you need to put it in the place where you're going to likely find the path to it. So survey, you look at the chapter, like the overall chapter, like let's say, for example, we're going to talk about atoms and chemistry, atoms and molecules. So you think about, what do I already know about atoms? You already have some previous knowledge from simply being alive. So think outside of the biology book. Where in real life have you heard chemistry? You may have heard GMOs, you may have heard natural things, you may be wondering about organic chemistry and how those fruits and vegetables are different or the same from anything else. So put yourself in the place where the chapter is going to happen. Then question. Question means you're going through the chapter headings. So you're not actually reading yet. You're looking at the subsections. And you're looking just at the title of the subsections, where something says, "What is brown fat?" or "Do adults have brown fat?" Now, the what the reading system tells you to do is to turn these things into questions. Well, books have already done this for you. So they already turned it in a question for you. So what you need to do is you need to rephrase the question. You need to think about what other questions may possibly be answered. Part of the important things that you need to do here is you need to work with the words. You need to build sentences using those words and need to write those things down, make notes of these things. And now you read. So after you've surveyed, after you've read after you made up questions that you wrote out off to the side, now you read. The difference now between the reading that you're doing now and the reading you would have done 10, 15 minutes ago is you're now reading for a purpose. You're now reading, first of all, you know the place where you are subtopic wise, right? And you're now reading for a purpose to answer the questions that you just asked yourself. Once you're done reading that first time, now go look back at your questions. Did you really answer the questions? Are you able to answer the questions? Recite the answers to your questions. And then you close the book. And then you answer the questions again. And see if you can talk about what you just read in the book. That's learning. The best thing that you can do for learning is you can teach somebody else. If you can explain it to your children, you probably got it. If you're trying to explain it and you get stuck, you need to look at it again. When you're reviewing, write the answers down. Don't just say, I sort of know this. You don't. There's a difference between active knowledge and passive knowledge. Active knowledge is when you can reproduce it. And what you need to be able to do here is you need to be able to reproduce it both for the exam and for your life, really. Um, Passive knowledge is what you normally are content with, where you're just like, yeah, I read that. I sort of know that. I'll recognize it when I see it again in the multiple choice question. But you're sunk if all of a sudden I'm asking you to write a sentence. So be prepared to write a sentence. And you do this by working through the SQ3R reading system.